Good afternoon.
Hello, everyone.
Howdy,
Hello.
howdy.
We missed you. Missed you in our week
Yeah,
off. I
yeah,
mean, Steven was kind of busy.
a little bit.
I was
Very
kind
tired.
of tired. Yeah.
Fish events and things happening.
Time to
Yeah,
take a break from fish events, Steven, for at least a little bit.
yeah. I guess if the rumors that Dallas is first are true, then I guess my next fish event will be in February.
That'll be a nice time to have it. Dallas and February.
Really, like way better than July.
Yeah.
Like I live in the South in
Boiling.
July. You don't want to go anywhere
Yeah,
in
it's just
July.
like you don't want Aquashella to be in February in Chicago.
Oh
Yeah.
God, no.
February is a really bad month up here. It's bad.
Yeah. So you're getting frozen soon up there, huh?
Yeah, I mean we've got a cold front coming in right now. It's kind of miserable. We're freezing Tuesday night, so I winterized the ponds. It was very depressing. I'll show you what's left of the ponds.
Oh, do we need some sad music to go along with this?
Yeah, see these flowers?
Mm-hmm.
That's
hmm
it. I
That's
hacked them down from the plants around the pond because the frost was going to kill them. So that's. Let's see.
it's time we get you an indoor pond and then just blast light over it.
No, oh my God, the cats would love an indoor pond.
Oh yeah, they would.
Yeah, they yeah.
That kitty would chew up all the immersed plants.
Oh
Mhm.
my God. We would go fishing every day in the pond. So
There he is. No.
Aw.
He doesn't like this.
Nope.
But it's his fault for being so soft and squishy. Yeah.
That's a good point, Zinder. February is when Texas had the catastrophic fish killing freeze of a couple years ago.
Oh my God. That was so cold for you guys.
Yeah.
That was a rare freeze. So
It was yeah, it was it would have been fine, I guess, had the power grid not just shit the bed.
I think it was colder there than it was here, which is crazy. Yeah. So it's 73 there. That sounds nice. I think it's like
Mm-hmm.
50 here and windy. Not great.
79, cold as hell, Eduardo said.
Yeah. But I cut back all of the water lilies because the frost just kills the leaves. But they're fine. I sink them to the bottom of the pond. The lotuses, I just made sure the crown is underwater. And they're fine. Everything should be okay. I just cut back everything. It's very sad looking, and I covered it all with a net, not Mystery Snail Guardians a net. So if she wants to come and hug my pond, like that would be nice.
She's feeling under the weather right now.
Yeah, I hope she feels better soon.
I hope so too. I was sick last week. I hope you feel better.
Yeah, I insist that I did not give her whatever she's got because I have not gotten sick, knock on wood, with any of these events. So
You're so lucky. God,
maybe I'm just like the carrier of all the things.
Maybe. I was so sick last week. I sounded gross. It was not good times, but I'm doing much better now. So, and also my allergies were out of control, but I'm much better now. Yeah. So pond is winterized. It's covered with a net, so the leaves stay out of it. It makes it cleaner in the spring. I won't drop heaters in it. Really, the existing pumps, and I have a huge air stone in there, will keep it ice free until about 17 degrees or so. And then I'll use like a stock tank heater or like this contest. I got a 300-volt Fluval heater. I might use that in a pond. I don't know. Maybe not. So, yeah. And then I just set it at like 50 degrees. Because, I want my fish to stay in torpor because they're cold fish. They're goldfish and rice fish. They can winter fine. They just need a hole in the ice for gas exchange is all they need. So everything's fine for now. I won't worry about getting a a heater in there for quite a while. So
I'm still waiting to see how long these gambusia are going to last outside in Louisiana. I think we have a cold front coming in.
ooh.
I don't.
Yeah,
like
a lot of the
that
country
stuff.
is getting a cold snap. So a lot of the center of the country, it's not. My sister was camping in Wisconsin over the weekend, and it snowed there with the kids.
Like
So
it's 71 now. We have a freeze warning for tomorrow night. Oh my.
that's madness for you guys.
Well, here it
Cover your
comes. This
flowers.
is going to be Gambusia test number 1.
If it's close to the house, you might be okay.
Yeah.
It is close to the house.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I don't know much about Gambusia. They don't. We can't. They don't live up here. So
They're pretty hardy, but once it gets cold, it's not very.
yeah, it's too cold up here. So Gambusia don't live.
Yeah.
Lows in the 30s tomorrow and Wednesday. Woo, that's cold for you guys, Jenna. Woo.
Lady Diane's got a freeze tonight.
And that's about what we
Okay,
have
and
up
Bex
here.
in Colorado. What a surprise. Her fall is our winter.
Yeah. Yeah. So
And I wish I could experience that. I feel like I don't belong here in Louisiana. Like my body has not acclimated to this heat. I want to be preserved in refrigeration.
yeah, I think you would
The
probably
colder, the
like
better.
Yes.
I think you would probably like living in the north, whereas I'm so cold and I'm so miserable, and you know, I'm a lifelong Midwesterner. You'd think I'd be better at it, but I'm not. So, and I think hot yoga makes it worse because I've gotten really good at dealing with heat because of that.
Oh.
I think I'm worse at dealing with cold. So, tropical vacations. I'm just gonna go live with Dee Dee. That's what I'm gonna do.
There you go.
I'm gonna camp out in Dee Dee's fin den. We're gonna have so much fun. We're gonna have so much fun.
Jenna says no go living in the
No
north.
go
Not the
living in the
north.
That's right, Stephen.
No, I don't want to be dealing with negative temperatures for a lot of the time. I just, I'm okay with like anything between like 40 and 60 something, honestly.
Well, Stephen, you just come visit me in the summer. Okay. It's pretty mild here a lot. The summers in Indiana are quite pleasant. Low 80s, not super humid. It's not bad. It's not bad. Yeah.
So, Kelley, you did an aquascape in Chicago.
Sure did. I sure did. So I didn't do it alone. I had an amazing team. I had Brookley and Jenna, and Jake was super helpful. He was amazing. And our hero is Eric Wyrock, who brought us the fish. Thank you, Eric. Yep. If you're watching, thank you so much. You're amazing. You're our hero. I wish we'd gotten more time together.
Wait, he sent a super chat and I missed it. The plant. Thank you, Eric.
Thanks, Eric.
Such a great guy. Such a great guy. And Jake was super helpful too. He hauled so many things. I mean, he did whatever we asked. So he was great. So, I think it was a great effort. I'm super proud of the work that we did. Are there things I would have tweaked? Maybe those still wouldn't have made us win. But I'm very proud of the tank. I was so sad to tear it down. I was so sad because it just, you do all that work and you put all those hours into it and, you just want to live with it a little while and you can't. And that was just, that's a hard part. So
you should do what Grant and Shelby do. And they're just like, I'm taking all of it home. In Dallas, whenever we were telling them like, oh, they're making us tear down the tanks now, Grant had a very specific phrase that I cannot repeat on this daytime show. And he took his stuff home.
I did take the rocks. I took all the rocks. So I could put it up again. And the other thing is I did get the tank. So one good thing about the contest, I thought Fluval was wonderful. The equipment they provided was really nice. The Fluval reps were super helpful. They helped us box it up. Thank you so much to those guys. If they happen to be watching, I think, sometimes Fluval doesn't get good press, but they did a great job with this contest providing really nice equipment. The tank that I got is 72 gallons. It's about 3 feet long, and I think it's 22 by 22. So
that's a really nice footprint.
Fabulous dimensions, and it's drilled. So it has an intake and an outflow that comes up through it, and then it has a little place underneath it. You can park a little canister. The stand is super sweet. It's made of aluminum, like metal. I mean, it looks really nice. And this tank, it's called a Fluval Sienna. It's not yet sold in the U.S.
I heard you are like one of a dozen people in the U.S. who have
No.
that tank.
I know, and it's really, really nice. And the other people we have to thank, or I have to thank, are the metalheads. So Jake and I had planned on just taking this smaller tank home with no stand. So we just brought his car and not the truck. The truck is expensive to drive. And what we ended up doing was we paid for an extra night for the metalheads in their hotel. And then I drove back the next day with the truck and they helped me load it up. So thank you so much, Jess and Josh. You guys are amazing. I couldn't have done it without you. And I'm very grateful for that help. So those were
Things you do for new aquariums.
No kidding. I mean, this tank though, it's pretty worth it. I don't know what the MSRP will be for it, what it'll retail for, but I've got to imagine it's gonna be
A little pricey.
yeah. It's a pretty pricey tank.
It's a rimless tank, or is it?
It's got this real well, and I don't like rimless tanks because of the fish I keep. So it has. If you've ever seen like on George Farmer's channel those Awaza Highline tanks that he has, that have the silvery rim with and it has the integrated lid on it. So no, it has a lid, which I love because I like lids on tanks. I don't have wood that pops out of the top ever, and I keep rainbows and fish that jump, and I have cats that need lids. So no, it has a lid, and I'm very glad about that. I would never keep tanks without lids. So
what's interesting. Go ahead, Myrtle.
I was just going to say, you don't want crispy fish or accidental catfish. You don't want either of the two.
Right, exactly. So I'm very happy about it. And also, I just don't like that much evaporation. It's kind of a pain in the
topping
butt.
it off every day.
Yeah, it's kind of a pain in the butt. And in the summer, your house gets so humid. So, you know, I like lids. If you don't like lids, that's okay with me. You don't have to like them, but I like lids.
I mean, I like lids for my rainbows. Luckily, we don't have a cat that's like has any energy. So she's not going to hop up on the tanks. She likes to and chirp at them.
I mean, Tiny Kitty might go for a swim. She loves the tanks. And Fat Kitty might too. I don't know. So, yeah. So Whip says it's a 3 foot. I'm triply depressed that I didn't win one. Because the next biggest 3 foot tank he can find is a 65 high. Yeah, this is 72. Oh. So it has fantastic dimensions. It has so much front to back depth. Really great.
I found that interesting that only four of the tanks in the competition were like that. The rest of them were 50s, so they were basically 40 breeders but taller.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So what happened was they had some like maybe last minute entries. And they realized they needed 4 more tanks, and they ran out of the stands that said Fluval on them. So they use these because it's what they had. But they weren't meaning to. And then 2 people didn't show, so they really would have only needed 2 extras of them. So it was just a lucky thing that I got them. And it's a great tank.
Right.
So, and the other good thing is I get to keep the rocks, which
yay.
It was like probably 100 pounds of dragonstone. I can definitely
which would cost quite a bit. Yep. So
yeah,
you got it for free.
I got all the equipment with the tank, and I got to Brooklyn took home a lot of plants. I took home a few plants. Brooklyn took home a lot of plants, which is great. The plants were much better this time, from what I've heard.
I heard
they
that.
had a pretty good selection of plants. They had a lot of Monte Carlo. They had a lot of hair grass. They had a lot of Anubias. They had a couple different kinds of Anubias. So it was and it was a lot of it, a lot of it. So the selection of plants was much better, I think, than at Dallas. I wasn't there, but from what I've heard. So those were good things with the competition, I would say, that they've improved on.
Yeah, Kenny, you got to keep. Kenny's asking they get to keep the tank. Yeah, that's
Yeah. It's probably going to be, I don't know, at least $1,500 that tank with the stand. It's super
Yeah.
great. I mean, there was an entry fee for us to go to this competition, and there were a lot of other expenses incurred.
Right.
To do
Yeah,
that.
having to, like anyone who has to fly there. I remember
Yeah.
in Dallas, Victoria Lee. I felt bad for her because she couldn't bring the tank home with her. She just
Yeah, no kidding.
Mhm.
And then, yeah, I mean, and because she didn't place, she didn't get to scape in Chicago. Whereas, you know what, she could have just skipped that, and she could have scaped, they probably would have directly let her scape, because they did that for other people who were local to Chicago. The guy who was next to us, who made a really great tank, he's from the Chicago area. So, it sucks that she didn't get to keep a tank, because,
Yeah.
she couldn't.
So did
But
any of those 22-inch depth tanks place?
no.
I was curious about that because it almost seems like you. Go ahead.
They had all that depth, and they could have used it to their
Exactly.
advantage, and they still didn't.
And
win.
they were bigger. They were bigger. They were more work to skate because they were bigger. It was just more work to build a bigger skate.
Mhm.
So, I don't think there's a whole lot I could have done to place. Put it that way.
Let's go through the scapes and
Yeah, let's go through them.
Do we want to start with the video of?
Yeah, let's go through mine first, because I can talk about what I did with it and my artistic vision and all that. And Jake took a really good 4K video. So
yeah, just. Well, okay. Here we go. Share screen.
So there it is.
Look at them rummy nose too.
No, but they just wanted to hang out in that corner. They didn't want to move. So this is Dragonstone, and it's built up pretty high in the back. And I think it looks a lot like Colorado. I don't know, Bex, what do you think? The rocks are red like Colorado, and it was really colorful when I was there in the summer. We planted so many plants, just so many. All of that Anubias nana petite is mine that I grew myself. Some of those pieces are huge. It came from my tank. Stephen, the Cypress Helferi in the back is from him. So some of those plants we grew ourselves, and some were from the tank, or from them.
Yeah.
There's a lot of golden Anubias in there, which I took home. I took a ton of that home. That was nice. Brooklyn took all the Monte Carlo. There is so much hair grass planted there. Some of it we brought with us, a lot of it, and some of it they had there. Oh my God, we planted so much hair grass. There's also a lot of Blixia japonica. I brought a ton of that. It's a plant I really love. So it's cool to be able to grow it. Yeah.
So, Mridul, you have to critique the scapes, including this one.
All right.
Yeah, I can critique it too. I mean, but you go first.
Yep. I really like how the pathway is straight, but it's not in the center. So it does not, it has a naturalistic feel. And then the way your Dragonstone, can you see my hands with the green?
Yeah.
Okay. So the way the Dragonstone goes, I premiered for the video. The way both ends come to a center point, that's right above the pathway. So that looks nice. And then the way the planting was really nice in between the Dragonstone, especially on the right side. The left side could have used a little bit more in that empty patch that you see in right there where Steven's mouse is. Yep, it could have been a little bit more. Maybe take some from the middle part of the tank and move some of that Anubias there. But other than that, it's really nice. Yeah. I like how you use small rocks to make the pathway look.
Yeah, Brooklyn did all that detail work, and I do think that looks really good. All those little detail stones. So that's Rio Zingu gravel. Detail gravel, and I do think it looks really good. It looks really natural. Yep. If I were to critique this, I wish it would have been built a little bit higher, actually, on the right side. I would like one more rock in that little notch. Where that is. I would like another rock there, but the intake and outflow are right there. So it's a little difficult to build around, and we just ran out of rocks. I mean, we just ran out of rocks. But it's built pretty high in the back.
Mhm.
It could have been just a little higher. I think it would have been better. And yeah, there could have been another piece of Anubias where Myrtle said. I think there's Blixa japonica there on that ridge. The other thing is like a lot of that Monte Carlo looks good for now, but it's going to overgrow and obscure those rocks.
Yep.
So I
You have to
don't
keep up
know.
with
I
it.
would have put like maybe 1/4 the amount of Monte Carlo that's there, because I mean, there's some places where it's like hiding seams, like where two rocks are glued together, and it's appropriate there. But like it's gonna overgrow and obscure those rocks horribly.
And then they
So-
had the audacity to say that the plants look like they were just planted that day. Like,
yeah, that's
No.
what
Yeah,
I
shit.
know. Well, that was a criticism, so we didn't get any tank specific criticism. You know,
Mm-mm.
that's what they said to everyone. And the plants were planted that day. And if you want plants to look like they weren't planted that day, you need to not use stems or Monte
Mhm.
Carlo.
Right.
You need to just glue on Anubias and Java ferns,
Yep.
which is what the winning tanks did. So
Kelley, is this super glue?
probably the Monte Carlo floated away from it, you know? Well, here's the thing also. We were planning up right until the last second, and we
Yeah.
got the water in right at the last second because there was a line to get water in the tanks because they didn't have hoses. Oh, and other fun fact about this, all that rock that's there, it's probably 100 pounds of rock. We loaded into boxes along with James of Fish Room Fever. Jake and I carried that out to the car, and Jake and I drove it to a car wash, and I scrubbed it on my hands and knees.
Oh God,
For about
yeah.
25
Oh.
minutes, scrubbing all that rock to get it clean.
I love Dragonstone, but oh my God, do I hate
No.
Washing
cleaning
it is a pain. Yeah.
It's a pain, but they just didn't have enough Sirius stone. And I do love the way Dragonstone looks. It looks awesome, and it's easier to scape with in many ways because it has
A directionality to it.
yeah, and it also more than one face looks attractive, whereas with Dragonstone, only one face looks good. So you need twice as many rocks to pick the ones that look good. So, you know, I'm proud of it. It has things that could be better. So this one is done by a man named Bilal Muhammad. He is on Instagram. I can't remember his Instagram name. Super nice guy. He's from the Chicago area. It was so fun to watch him work. So in the back corners of that, he has like little like milk crate boxes building it up, and then there's a piece of plywood that goes across it to make the top of the cave, and then he pond foamed it in. So it was really cool to watch him work. Really the most innovative build.
I love this comment because we're building up to that, and depending on your
Well-
opinions and taste, Eduardo, you might not.
But
Yeah, back spoiler
maybe
alert,
you will
Eduardo.
like it. Maybe you will like it. A lot of people say this tank is their favorite, and I will say it's the most creative. This one did win most creative, and I agree with that assessment.
Mhm.
I think it is the most creative. Anyways, super cool guy and a really good artist.
Yeah. My only critique about this one, honestly, is that there should have been more done with the background. It just I can see the end point, and it just doesn't have the right kind of depth. Like there is a lost opportunity there. What do you think, Myrtle?
Yep, I was just going to say that there's no point of focus in this tank where everything's leading to a certain point. It
Yeah.
just stops at the back.
Yeah, I also think it looks a little artificial because it's a
Yeah,
piece
you could
of
say that.
plywood across. But I really love how creative this tank was. It was so cool to watch it being built. And he's a cool guy, and I hope he posts more to Instagram because I think he's really cool. So, Brookley says he told me that it was flooring tile that was the top of the cave. That doesn't surprise me. He had all kinds of stuff he was whipping out to aquascape with. It was really cool. I mean, he's very innovative, is what I will say. And I can't remember his Instagram name, but he does cool stuff. He's a cool guy. So yeah. Maybe he could. You know what? If he would have won, I would have been like, well, you know, that tank is cool.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have
Anything
been
else, Myrtle?
Okay, let's see. Other than the back completely stopping, I know this is something you couldn't do once you stopped scaping, but that one leaf of Java fern that's floating in the corner.
Doesn't it bother the crap out of you?
Yep. It's like if I walk by, I would just pull that out with my tweezers before taking the picture.
Here's the thing. These pictures were taken the next day. They
Ah.
judged like an hour after they were set up. So the leaf might not have been there. It might have just floated up during the day. So and just like my little piece of glue that was showing, that might have been covered. You know, it's just, I don't know. Whenever you set up a scape, there's always a little like makeup touch up that has to happen in the next few daase. And I think that's what it was.
The water's always so damn cloudy for the first.
I know. And so we used in our tank Chemi Pure, which Brooklyn got for us. That stuff does work really well. Also, I packed the filter just full of floss. I just stuffed it full of floss. And it was pretty clear. So, yeah. So this tank is by a man named Austin. I'm not sure what his last name is, but he works for ADG, which is they are like OG aquascapers down in Houston. So ADG is run by Jeff and Mike Sensky, and they have been scaping since, I don't know, at least 2005. They're wonderful artists. I don't know if they were judging this. Mike Sensky was there. He's good friends with George Farmer. You know, they all know each other.
Scaping world.
Yeah. So this scape, so he built this. He took the tank down. He was working all by himself. We didn't have anyone to help him.
That's crazy.
I know. But he's a pro. I mean, he works for ADG.
And he won 3rd place, right?
He did. So, but the cool thing about this was, so he built this on some egg crate. And, I said to him, like, when you go to move that, don't move it by yourself. Jake will help you. We don't want it to break.
Just wait, Eduardo.
Hold your tongue, Eduardo. We're not done with the story. So, and Jake and like 2 or 3 other guys helped him move it, because those skates are heavy with even any rock.
Yep.
And it broke into like 3 pieces. And this had to have been maybe an hour and a half before the end, I swear.
Oh.
And so he pulled it together after that. I don't know how. And he got 3rd place. Maybe he intended to add more plants than he did. There wasn't time. I can't deny, though, that there's cool things happening in this tank. I love I'm not really a woodscape person. This is kind of not my jam for what it personally is, but there's a really great diagonal line across there where the end point is. There's really good energy in that tank. It's much more creative than most nature style wood tanks.
But you're just thinking about all the opportunities for rainbow fish to get impaled.
Oh my God! I don't want to have a tank in my home plus catching fish out of there. I don't want to live.
You're not catching fish out of there. That's not a living tank. That is a forever tank.
Yeah, but so he works for ADG. What he would do is he would tie a bunch of like Java fern narrow leaf on that, and there would be maybe some tetras, and this would be in a client's home. It'd be low maintenance plants. And, it would probably look pretty good. So, but I'm just amazed what he came back from. I have to respect that he still got 3rd place. I don't, cool guy. And he did this all alone. He didn't have anyone helping him except to move it, which, yeah.
So did the videographers get that on camera, the thing falling apart as he was putting it in there?
I don't think so. In fact, my back was turned when it happened, and Jake came over and he's like, "Oh my God, his scape just exploded."
Oh.
So, yeah. But he pulled it together. So that was great. Yeah. So, and Brooklyn's right. Austin did a beautiful scape. Austin's a cool guy. And there's things we learned from him. So Brooklyn and I both saw. So when you're gluing hardscape together, you can use a cigarette filter, a little piece of cotton ball, and you can saturate it with some super glue. but you have this ugly white thing. You should cover it with either sand or crushed rock. And he had, you can tell he's a professional. He had a couple of bottles of sand, like condiment ketchup bottles.
Oh, like the easy fry
Different
feed.
colors. Yeah, and he could just sprinkle it right on there, and he had it
Perfect.
ready to go with like a couple colors of sand. I mean, that's the sort of thing that being a professional you would have in a kit, so you could do that.
There's a lot to learn from that, because it's like, it's one more thing let's add to the bag when we go to Dallas.
Exactly. So it's one more thing you can do, and having that would be super, super cool to have. But he was a cool guy, and I think that's a cool scape. It's not my kind of scape, but I think there's a lot of artistic merit there.
Yep.
All right, Mridul.
So I pretty much agree with all you guys have been saying. Epiphytes or something in the driftwood would be pretty nice for this one. The driftwood on the right side, that one whole piece, I don't think that one belongs there in the orientation it's set. Because I think the top of that piece of driftwood on the right side is a little too bulky.
You're talking about right here?
Yep, that piece right there, yep. The top of that is a little bit too knotty to be, not knotty as in dirty, but like knotty as it is a big knot of wood in just floating in that part of the tank. It's not anchored to the ground or anything, or nothing's coming out of it from the top, so it doesn't feel like it belongs there. But yeah, that, more plants, and I don't see any fish in here. So
he may not have fish in there, because, well, he came up from Houston, so he would have had to have procured some fish. And the thing is a lot of the you know what, this kid, I say kid because I'm probably old enough to be his mother, right? he got this. I mean, this came from nowhere, broken into pieces. I mean, like, this is a real comeback story.
But yeah, knowing that I really do like this game. But if I was just looking at how this game ended up at the end, that's what I would say. But yeah,
I mean, but because it looks like it's a little unfinished, maybe it shouldn't have won. I don't know.
What resolution did Jake take these pictures, though? I mean, like, you can really zoom up.
Yeah, he has a brand new iPhone. So
okay.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the fancy.
Yeah, there you go. I think that given another 2 hours, this scape would look pretty outstanding.
Yeah.
Maybe it shouldn't have gotten third place. I don't know. I do think there's artistic merit in this scape, though, definitely. And he's a cool guy. He's a cool guy.
All right.
And if this was a tank for longevity, not just for a competition, but if you take this tank home, for the pieces of driftwood at the top, you can tie in some pieces of tillandsia. I think they're called the air plants.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that would be really nice.
Yeah. So, and that's the thing. On longevity, there was supposedly sanity of the scape was like 50 points of the judging. Well, none of these scapes are sane. I don't know that my scape is sane.
Sane in terms of, like, can the fit, like, if I would say, like, scape sanity, if I came to this competition, I saw he had a bunch of melanitania in here, I'd be like, no, you're
no,
that's not good for
the I mean, melanitania would be very unhappy. Well, for one, they jump out.
Mm-hmm.
2, they're going to impale themselves. They're not smart fish. But if you had like 10 little tetras in there, it would look pretty. Maybe a little school of cories would look nice. Yeah, it would be nice if he'd had fish. But here's the thing. Other people who traveled up, they bought fish and they auctioned them off. That's what they did. And maybe he didn't personally, like, have the wherewithal to do that. Because you'd have to come early enough to buy fish in Chicago and auction them off. You'd have to have the funds to do that. So I don't think they should hold it against him that it doesn't have fish. Because it was hard to get our fish there. What does sanity have to do with nothing? God, that's so true. I did not feel very sane at this competition. All right.
Number 4 was a no-show, right? Or just
that was an empty tank. So I just like to also give a caveat that this contest was judged on not pictures, but how they looked in person. And if you don't have a white background on a tank, it's not going to photograph as well. We had a frosted background, with a cool light at the end point, which looked very cool. But nothing photographs better than an opaque background.
Yep.
And if you don't
Right.
have a background, it really doesn't photograph well.
This background brought to you by Fluval.
Yeah.
Okay, I want to get a closer look, and then I want to
Yeah.
hear Myrtle judge this. But I want to get a
Well,
closer look at
so
what we got going on.
This
up
is a
here.
good strategy. So these are wrapped in like cloth bandages, like brown cloth. And the principle behind that is the water wicks up and it keeps the plants wet. However,
They look
while
sad and
that
dry to me.
transition has to occur, you're transitioning from submersed to immersed life. You probably need to keep them covered in like plastic bags in the meantime till they, make the transition. But the judging happened about an hour afterwards. So,
This one didn't place, Eduardo.
didn't place. It got
Honorable
an
mention.
honorable mention. I think though that their planting on their epiphytes looks cool.
Mm-hmm.
Those Java ferns eventually are going to take over, but Java ferns are pretty easily thinned. What you're going to notice is you're going to see a whole lot of left to right pointy piles of sticks. That's what half the competitors did in this competition. And you can decide which one of the pointy piles of sticks going from one direction to the other you like best.
Myrtle?
So it's definitely visually more appealing than the one that we just looked at. The inclusion of river stones at the bottom was really nice, and I like how the second one from the left is elevated from the rest, so it does not look like it's just all laying flat. Intentionally, it looks kind of natural that way. The driftwood coming through in front of the river rocks is also nice. That one piece, the first piece of driftwood from the left side, if you look at the top, the way it's broken, the second one, sorry, that one does not look like it was broken naturally. It looks like it was broken intentionally.
Yeah,
This
they
one right
could've-
here?
Mhm.
they
I
could've
was looking at this
Hidden
one.
that a little.
This one bothers me.
Oh yeah, that one too. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
a straight
they could've,
slice. Yeah.
They could have burnt it a little bit with a torch. That would have
Right.
aged it a bit. I mean, but again, like if this were in your home, it would just age naturally.
Yeah, it
Or
would.
if
Algae
you
would
were doing
cover
it
it and
for a
plants and all.
contest where you had to wait a couple months, it would age naturally and look okay. But for the day, probably they could have done something to age it a bit.
Yep. The open space in the right hand side where Steven's mouse is, that looks really nice.
It does
like
look
that.
good.
Good congregation point for fish.
I kind of feel like they probably should have shifted this over to the left very slightly so that it could be something on the right. It's a little bit,
I think it would get too busy.
maybe
think
so.
that-
There's a lot of detail in this.
I
Like,
think
It would draw away from the center of the.
I think your eye needs a break. I think that if you have too much positive space and no negative space, it's exhausting. And the fish, I think the fish would like to cuddle up there.
where
No.
are the fish?
So Brooklyn says y'all will see that the first place doesn't have a background. In my opinion, I definitely always prefer background. So do I. I think that it finishes a tank, and it's also very easy to put in a suitcase.
Mhm.
It's an easy thing to have a plain white background, plain black background, something.
Yep. And if you don't want to carry over paper, if you want a real black background, just carry a small bottle of acrylic paint from Michael's. They cost $1 or $2 and a small brush, and you can cover that whole thing.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if I would want to paint a tank there because it's so chaotic. But
Oh,
true.
they
just
rank
adding a background.
all the way to 5th place.
Did they go up fifth? This, in my opinion, is the very best hardscape. If they'd put a background on it, you could see this a lot better. This hardscape is so awesome. Their rock work and how it's integrated with the wood is just incredible. I kind of think that maybe this one should have won.
Yep. You can see how this could be something from outside just put into a tank. It looks like you can see this in nature somewhere.
I mean, I wish you could see a better, and they should have put a background in it. If I have any criticism, they should have put at least a frosted background or a plain white background.
Mhm.
This tank is so good. This hardscape is so cohesive, and it wraps so beautifully around the end
golden
point.
ratio spiral. Yep.
I love the placement of the Java ferns in the front.
Mhm.
I love this one. Got best use of depth. It absolutely is the best use of depth. This is a really well done scape. Their rock work is incredible. Here's what I don't get. There's a ton of dragonstone in that tank. They didn't wash any of it.
Oh.
And yet it's okay. Did I waste my time washing all that dragonstone? I mean,
It's probably the way they filled the tank.
Maybe. But yeah, really well. Man, this hardscape is so good, and the planting is so good.
Mhm.
Maybe it could have had a little bit more detail stone around the front and the
Yep,
foreground.
around the front. Yep.
That could have
Stands a little
helped,
bland.
and a background. But man, this hardscape is good, and those Java ferns look so good. I mean, I love this tank. I
Was
don't
that
know
provided at Aquashella?
that
Or
Java
did
fern. They had a lot of really great Java ferns there, so they might have gotten it there.
Mm.
Yeah, there were a lot of Java ferns. They had mats of Java ferns. I don't, Berkeley, do you know the people who did this tank? I don't. But I love this tank so much. This was the best tank that was there, in my opinion. It's so good. It's so good.
Yep.
This is
And
better than mine.
If you look at this tank, if you take out most of the hardscape and the plants, it's very little compared to most very full scapes, but it still has a sense of depth. Like if you look at that water volume in the center, there's so much open space there. But at the same time, with that open space, it looks very full because of how they use the depth.
But you also don't think, oh, they could have put more plants in. Like
Exactly,
no.
they use just the right amount of plants to keep so open space, but it still makes it look so deep.
This tank is so good. It's just, yeah. I don't know the people who did it, but man, I'm not usually a wood person, but this tank is good. I wish I got to meet the people who did this, because
I think there was wood in every single scape in Dallas.
Yeah.
And
in ours, there are, I think, 2 that don't have wood, so mine and one others.
And do they have manzanita wood this time?
They had ghost wood. They had mapani wood. Did they have manzanita? I'm not sure. They had spider wood. They had they had actually really great looking wood.
Yeah, I remember in Dallas, Brookley used we brought all that spider wood. We had a plan with that, and then it turns out we had to use our hardscape. So like kudos to Brookley and Dallas, because she switched over to manzanita completely different direction at the last second. And her first real skate contest like this, I mean, she placed third.
No, Brookley, she did an amazing job.
Yep.
No, I think the hardscape choices they had were not bad. They had a lot of it. They had really good choices of wood. They had quite a bit of rock. The plants were pretty good. Yeah, it's but this tank is so good. I mean, when I watched this one being built on the first night with that hardscape, I'm like, oh my God, that looks good. Yeah. I don't know the people who did it. I wish I could have. Yeah, Brooklyn doesn't know either. I wish I could have met them, because that's really cool.
So which one was this one? So the ones that place.
Did this one? This one didn't place. No, this
I don't know why that's.
I don't know why that's sitting there. This one got best use of color, which I do like, where the color.
But the other one was 5th place. Was this one 4th place?
Maybe. Boy, that's questionable.
Well,
I do like the use of color.
I just want Mridul's opinion on these, especially the ones that placed, just like going into it blind.
So the left side, the very left side by the center of the glass, is a little bit too full with the amount of lighting that they've used. But I do like how the upper left, the piece of driftwood, ties in with the driftwood that's coming in from the bottom right. If you look at it from dead center at this angle that we are, the rotalas or the red stems in the back, the red is really nice.
Yeah, it is nice. That line of rotalas is nice. And, so this is one of those things that when they take, if you were to have it at home, you would probably keep that line trimmed like that, because it does look really good. That line does look really good. I mean, my issue with it is it's like that weird bisection of the tank. It's kind of weird. It could also have some more detail stones in the foreground.
And in the back left, I don't know if that's Ericolin feather duster or a giant hairgrass.
It's not. It's giant hairgrass. It's
the umbrella.
Eleocharis vivipara.
Vivipara, yep.
We use that too. Yeah, it's just one of the plants they provided. They had quite a bit of it, so we used it. It's not a bad plant.
I like this one. a lot.
I don't like this one at all.
Uh-oh.
Certainly not.
I think we should hear
compared to
Kelley's
that.
criticisms of this
Well,
thing.
Yeah.
I just think that it looks like the tank is bisected weird. I do like
Yeah,
that.
if you look at it from the left, are you talking about left and right, how they're completely different? And then
No, I
there's
just
just one
think
piece
that
of tying it together, or
middle
the
is breaking it up. I don't like. But I do like that line of red rotellas in the back. I really like.
Yep, and that's
And I
used quite a
do
lot
like
in scapes.
I like the shadowy left part of the hardscape. I really like that. I
think they
that.
should have used a thicker rock for this foreground rock.
Yeah,
Because
it
I'm
just
trying.
looks
It's hard to
cool.
discern the difference between this rock and then the one here that's in the background.
The thing is, when you look at this in person, it looks very unnatural, that piece sticking out. It's like, how is that suspended there? I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
That's why I was like, oh, okay. But I do like that line of rotellas. Also, notice how much better this one photographs. It's because it has a background on it. And it's just a plain white background, and a plain white background looks great. I have a plain white background on one of my tanks, and it looks good, And if you're setting up aquascapes at home or a tank at home, you can take your tank from 0 to 50 just by putting it on either a plain white or a plain black background, and you can switch it up as your whims change. Yeah. But I mean, compared to the tank right before this, no. That tank was so much better.
That tank was much better.
That tank is so good. So good.
Okay, here's a not placed honorable mention.
I don't know how. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. That rock looks like it's gonna fall. I don't think they put much time into this.
Yeah, this doesn't look like it was a 11-hour escape.
Let's yeah. Well, everybody but like 2 people got honorable mentions, so I was not the bottom 2. So ABC says he prefers black backgrounds. I like black backgrounds for many of my tanks. I like them for my rainbows, especially because rainbows have better color on a black background, and black backgrounds are easier maintenance. So, try both. See what you like.
Likes her tanks dark and moody.
Yeah, I mean, I have one tank that's white, and I think because it's a smaller scape, I think it makes it look bigger and brighter. Kind of just depends what you're going for. But a background like this tank would look better with a background. Yeah. Every tank looks better with a background.
Yep.
Mridul.
So we said in the very beginning, that piece of riverstone at the top, if that super glue is not strong, that's gonna crush something. If there's a quarry, whatever's on the bottom, there's something that's gonna die if that falls.
Something's gonna die, or the tank bottom is gonna crack.
Oh, that too. Yeah. Yep.
Like Johnny said, this scape looks like it's gonna fall over and flood your living room.
Yep.
So this is one where we could dock it with sanity of the scape, right? Because like if that rock, it doesn't look natural, but also it looks hazardous.
Yep.
And those pieces of rock are probably pretty heavy. I mean, I guess
they look dense. Yeah.
Couple of pounds.
Oh yeah, I tried to break these rocks with a hammer in Dallas, and they don't do that. They don't break.
No, I mean those river stones are big pieces of like metamorphic rock. I mean, they're heavy. They're like yeah, they're heavy. So Window Liquor says I use black garbage bags for the background. Cheap and easy to change. Yeah, that's a great thing to do. You can also get window film, cling film. That's what I've used. It's pretty cheap. And you can just change it when you feel like it. We have frosted window film, also very easy to use. What you do is you spray the back of your tank with soapy water, and you apply either the trash bag or the film, and then you take like a credit card and you
swipe all the water,
push out all the bubbles, and it does work really well. So Beck says those rocks look like the ones from Pirates of the Caribbean that turned into crabs and carry the ship. It's a bit disturbing.
Kind of.
They do, Bex. They do.
Just put a pirate ship on the left side of the tank, and you have a themed tank.
I just don't think they put much time into this. I didn't see them over there that long. But they also weren't very near me, so I don't know what they were doing.
There's another honorable mention.
This is Grant and Shelby's. I don't know if they have a background on here or not. They might have a frosted background on there.
It looks like there's a background, yeah.
Yeah. So this is Mopani wood. which is a
I like
very
how it's all standing up. It looks like trees on a foggy day.
yeah.
Very back,
I like this tank. I like this tank. It's really well done, hardscape.
The detail work in the front with the accent stones is also pretty nice.
Grant Shelby do a good job at detail work. I love all the different sizes of Anubias that are used, the different sizes of Java fern. It gives it a good
And
sense of depth to have
this
that.
did not place. This tank did not place.
Nope, it didn't place. I do think this is a very good tank, though, and they put a lot of work into it. You know, they didn't just
Yeah.
slap something up.
Yeah.
I think it's innovative, and it looks different than other tanks.
And Grant and Shelby made this tank. This would be a great tank for shrimp because there's so many small little nooks and crannies for biofilm and all that to grow, and
Oh man.
places for the
This tank would
shrimplets
be-
to hide.
This tank would even be okay for rainbow fish because it's not sharp, pointy wood.
Yeah, the round wood. Yeah.
Mhm.
This would be a pretty easy tank to have in your home compared to some of them.
Yep, and there's very low maintenance for this too. There's nothing that's going to grow
Yeah.
insanely fast.
Yeah, this is a good tank, but it did not place. So solidly in the middle of the pack, much like ours. But it's a really good scape, guys. You should be proud of it. Here we go.
Okay.
This one is second place. This one is done by a team. So Melanie Holmes.
I just want to. So before we even say anything about it, I just want to hear Myrtle.
Well, I want to just tell you the people who did it
Okay,
first.
the
So
people.
Melanie Holmes, she is a member of Mazai, so the club that Lady Diana's part of.
Mhm.
And Mazai actually has a really cool profile on her on their channel, and she shows a lot of the aquascapes in her home. She is a good aquascaper. She worked with Joe's Shrimp Shack and one other person, but she's a friend of George Farmer's, who was one of the judges. She's probably a friend of all the judges. Myrtle, what do you have to say?
Too much wood. This sounds harsh, but it looks like a campfire that was immediately immersed into a glass tank, and the fire went out, and the wood's just the way it sits there. Some plants would probably save this.
So Myrtle,
probably,
what if I told you, Myrtle, that this tank also got best use of color?
There's color in the tank.
There's one color.
There's one.
There's some like whitish tetras, so that white is a color. There's some green plants. There's some brown sticks and brown leaves. So there's those colors. I think there's maybe some tannin in the water. Maybe that's why it was best of.
Probably.
Yeah. I think,
Well, I just like that ABC Aquatic Biotope, the guy who does natural tanks, is seeing this and recognizes it for what it is.
I think it's probably a South American biotope. It had tetras in it, maybe. I don't know. I mean,
what are these?
I'm not
Nondescript
sure.
tetras. I see no color on them.
There was
Not even
no
the fish
color.
have color.
They were white. The fish were white. The leaves were brown. The wood was brown. There were about 12. I don't know. There were maybe like 5 pieces of Java fern and some Anubias. Not all. Yeah. Priscilla tetras and gouramis. Thank you, Jenna. Yeah, there were gouramis in there, but they were not colorful gouramis. So
it's not a true biotope even then, because gouramis aren't. Java fern is not from the area.
I don't know
either.
that they were going for a biotope. I don't think that anybody was.
If they were gonna, then they shouldn't have done this.
Yeah.
They're not going for a biotope.
Well, I mean, I guess there's also not a lot of. Yeah.
Oh, there's a botanical. I mean, that's something.
There are a lot of botanicals in there. I mean, this is not a tank I'm interested in building or having in my home, I will say. Rainbows would impale themselves, and I don't know. Oh, is there a background on there? I don't think there is.
It's a little cloudy, so I can't tell.
Well, it's cloudy. Maybe they added some tannins to the water. Well, they certainly have all those botanicals. They're going to leach tannins.
Tannins don't make water cloudy, though.
Well,
it's just new.
Probably the sand. Yeah.
Yeah, probably. So they didn't put enough filter floss in there. I mean, I don't know. It's not my jam, but I wasn't a judge. So, I don't know the people who did this. This one did not get an honorable mention even, which I don't know why it didn't get an honorable mention, because at least it doesn't have a rock that's about to plunge into a precipice. You know, it's a little bulky. Could use some detail stones in the path. Could just use some rethinking in the wood in general. But it's not planted well. It's planted well.
Yeah. The right side's a little wood heavy, especially in the lower right quadrant. There's not much to hide the plants, the wood, sorry.
So Geek Boy says, hate seeing the filter pipes stand out like that. We had to use the equipment that they gave us. So, like, you know, if I had this at home, I would probably put some chrome pipes on. It didn't do anything to hide it. That's for damn sure.
They could have. There's definitely space to put it in the back. I don't know why they put it all the way in the front corner.
I don't know. I mean, they have plenty of wood to hide that behind. They could have hit
the two back corners.
Yeah.
Even the center.
Yeah. Yeah, so Geek Boy says one of the main reasons I like canister filters is having the ability to hide them behind stuff easier. Absolutely. Absolutely. Right. It is one of the best reasons. I mean, if you slap a black background on that, put the pipes in the back, you won't see them at all. I mean, so, you know.
What we got in here?
I'm not sure what that fish is. Hard to tell from Jake's picture.
Some sort of guppy, I think. It's a lifer, probably.
A lone guppy.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a betta. You know what? 50 gallons for a betta. That betta's going to be happy.
Paradise.
Jurassic Park golf.
Yeah, except for the
I was laughing at that.
typhoon of the spray bar.
Well, this one did not even get an honorable mention. So, no.
Right.
Judges did agree. You could use pond foam, Kenny, and the guy who was next to us did. So this is the tank that won. It also got best usage of plants. This was done by Jen Williams.
Mridul.
And friends, just to tell you about it. So the plants, they all bought at a fancy aquascaping store in Chicago. They also bought the fish there. I did really like their fish. Their fish were cool. They had some cool cories roaming around. They had some cool little tetras, and they had those pretty black angels. They auctioned the tank off. They auctioned the fish off at the end. She took nothing but her big fat prize check. Best use of plants. Not a ton of plants there.
All right.
But the plants that were there were really high quality because they were picked by hand
Lush and green.
An aquascaping store. She didn't use a single plant that was provided. So that grassy plant is, I think, Isoides, which is a really beautiful plant. It's hard to find. But yeah, this is the one that won. And Eduardo says, who do I need to sleep with to get to win? Well, clearly I'm not sleeping with them.
So this isn't a terrible tank, but it does look like one of those tanks that you would see as a picture in a starter kit aquarium that attracts you to buy a starter kit. You know, where they have like 7 angelfish and a goldfish and a betta and everything, and in the background just wood. It kind of looks like that, but the plants are the left-hand side save it a little. The rock works nice, how they use accent stones and all, but it's just a little too bland to be a first place.
Yeah,
there's too much driftwood and nothing done with the driftwood except just placement.
The rock work is well done. I was shocked when this one won. I don't think it's a bad scape.
It's not a bad scape, but it's definitely not a winning scape.
I do kind of think it's like if you were reading a book on aquascaping, they would have like this would be the example picture for like this is how to do a nature style tank with placement of the wood coming from the left to the right. You know, but you know what? That's my opinion, man. And
that's just like your opinion.
Maybe my tank sucked in comparison. I don't know. I do love the fish. The fish are really cool.
I spot a pleco.
And that pleco got auctioned off with the other fish. The fish were
gonna eat all of that wood.
The fish were much better in this tank than any other tank. It got best use of plants, but it should have gotten best use of fish because those were good fish. So yeah,
color though. That's just oh man.
This tank won. So you know,
Could you zoom in on the bottom right corner? Bottom left, sorry.
Oh,
Directions.
right here.
Yep. Is that plant Didiplis? If so, this
Diandra,
yep.
It's right here.
I think
Yeah.
so.
I don't. Yeah, I'm not familiar.
It's not
with
gonna stay in that tank. It's gonna die. They have it planted way too dense in the bottom. This plant Didiplis does not like to have its stems put
No,
together at all.
it's a
It
little-
needs a lot of spacing between each stem.
Oh,
And the person,
That's gonna.
the person
rot and
who
float
made
off.
this aquascape knows that.
I know. Yep.
But here's the thing, and we saw from the feedback from the judges that these were to be judged by how they looked on day one, not how they
Longevity.
were longevity. And this one, look how nice the plants, the quality of the plants they use, because they bought their own plants. They bought them from an aquascaping store right
right.
then and there. And
Mhm.
that made a difference. So, Brookley, if you do this again, you need to build something that looks good on that day. Just load it up with epiphytes and java ferns. 'Cause
Oh,
they look-
we're gonna do like Brooklyn
Yeah.
is not discouraged at all, and she will be in Dallas, and I will be in Dallas. I'll be an
You should do
assistant,
it. You
but I
should do it.
know she will. She's gonna do it right for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I just don't want to do it because I don't want to make this kind of tank. I mean, I could make this kind of tank, but I just don't care.
Mm.
So, yeah.
Okay, this isn't a part of the tank, but I like how the person in the upper right corner, it looks like he's looking directly at the center of the driftwood.
Good placement of a head.
Yep.
Good placement of a head.
Yeah. Now, is this Cypress Helpheri in the back?
No, I think that's Isoides.
Yeah.
Okay, because I was wondering. I've seen it like that, and then I wonder if this because my Cypress Helpheri leaves are thicker.
A little thicker, yeah. Which Isoides is also a nice plant.
Yep.
And I think that
It's for sale at a couple of places. So
yeah. So
it's
and
fairly easy to do.
Anthony says that the 15% rule was rescinded to allow these people to handpick their stuff. Yeah. And that's another criticism. Make it all or nothing.
Yeah.
And I think honestly, just make it nothing other than your fish. You could bring your own fish.
Do it, Kenny. Go to
Kelley,
Dallas.
if you don't want to sleep with the right people, get Jake to. Yeah, Jake, come on.
Yeah, like Shelby's attitude too. Like, not gonna give up. They're gonna do it their way, regardless. They're not gonna try
Exactly.
to cater to the judges and what they think they like. They're going to make an impressive scape. That's their style.
Yeah.
Yep.
I just think that my future for aquascaping, I would rather either do it myself for my own home. I would rather set up friends' tanks, or I wouldn't mind like demonstrating an aquascape and teaching and talking through what I do, like doing a demo or like giving a talk on something else at a show. I just, I don't really enjoy the competition. Even if I'd won, I'd be like, well, this was not very fun. So this one did not get honorable mention. It was the only other scape that was all rock, I think. I mean, I don't think I would have given this one honorable mention either. No.
I mean, it's okay.
I don't think they put a ton of time into it.
No, I mean, it's definitely like let's stack some rocks and then put.
No, yeah. I mean,
Yeah. The pathway doesn't make sense based on how the rocks are laid out.
Yeah, it looks kind of weird and fake.
And the rocks do look like they're part of a different tank that was photoshopped into this
Yeah.
tank because the
Yeah.
way the back of the plants, it's just too much of a contrast between the rock and plants. It's something
There are
to
obviously
monitor.
two different colors of dragonstone out there.
Yes, that too. Yeah.
Yeah, they were. We went with the red stuff. There was a lot of it. And I don't know, you just had to decide something quick. And so that's what we did. I love the red dragonstone, though. I think it looks like Colorado. I love it. I'm glad to own it.
Mm-hmm. And see how that pathway is a little. See how the pathway lines up with the center of the tank. That doesn't look too good to me either. It was just a little bit to the right side.
Yeah.
Yeah, not to the left, to the right.
Yeah. Do they have points on how clear the water is after the scape? No, because they also judge them right away.
Yeah.
And this one I also don't think got an honorable mention because it does look just kind of like a pile in the middle of gravel.
Yep.
I don't think they put much work into this. So I
I
wasn't.
mean, it takes a lot of effort to put Java moss on stuff like that, but
Yeah.
It does, but I don't think they just did enough effort with their hardscape. They didn't have any. The foreground is really empty.
This
What they
doesn't
could have
make
done is taken that and just expanded a little bit to
Yeah.
fill out
Maybe
the
they're
tank a little more.
They might be beginners though.
Yep.
So Geek Boy says it can be hard to find enough dragonstone of the same color. That is true. They had a lot of dragonstone there, and boy, did we use a lot of it. Well,
What am I looking at here?
That's
Star
the
Giant
art.
Repaints.
Okay, it's just it's weird. It's in a
It
weird
is
little
weird,
pile.
right? It is.
Yeah, I think it was just grown, floating up top for a while, and then when you planted it, it's not all facing up.
Maybe they're beginners, is I guess what I have to say. But I mean, the judges did not award this one anything. So
That sword in the right corner back, that would grow out, fill in that section of the
It
tank.
would.
So that
It
would be
would.
nice.
I think that they could have rescued this by maybe moving it to the side a little bit and
Mhm.
doing a much more detail with the
Yeah.
foreground. They could have done a white sand
Or a
foreground.
carpet of something just to fill in. Yeah.
Something. It just is really unattractive.
But other than
maybe
that,
they're
it's pretty
beginners.
nice.
So Grant says they were beginners and did it just for the free tank because they couldn't find anyone to scape it. You know what? That's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah.
Awesome. And you know what? I don't think it's bad. I think it could easily be turned into a good
Yep.
scape. So, and if they're beginners, good for them.
Yeah.
I don't
And
wanna-
if you-
I
if
say
you
this,
want
but
to
like
take this tank home, that's a good thing.
if I
They
went
can
in this
keep working on it.
competition by myself,
Hi,
I wouldn't
Garcia.
do better than this. Like I
I don't
I'm-
think this is a. I don't really feel like shitting all over this tank.
Mhm.
We're all at different levels.
So how many? So there were 15 minus 4, so there were 11 total.
Yeah, and we didn't come in the bottom, and we didn't come in the top 5. So we probably were, I don't know, 7th, 8th, 9th, 6th, something. Who knows? Who knows? But I'm really proud of the work that we did. There are things that could have been done. It looked so cool in person. These all looked better in person that they did in photographs. I mean, because they were not made to photograph. They were made to look good in person. And there were a lot of really good takes. I think that the quality of aquascapes at this competition was probably the best of any American competition ever.
Yeah,
And-
they were better.
and a lot of people said that.
Yeah, they were
All
better
this-
looking than I was. Because I mean, there was one in Dallas where I think the vendor, he got so busy with his booth that like he put up hardscape and then he put up like plants that were still in the pots and then he couldn't come back.
Yeah.
Mhm.
No, and nobody did that. Everybody put in
Yeah.
some effort, and maybe they were working alone or they're beginners. And so Scotty says, I am in disbelief of these judging results. Well, I wasn't expecting to win, but I am proud of it. I think that Jenna and Brooklyn should be proud of it too, because it was a team effort. I think it's good. I would love to live. I'm sorry, I'm not living with this tank. I suppose I could just set it up again. I did take the rock home. I was sorry to tear it down. It's beautiful. It was a team effort, and I'm so proud of it. I wish Eric's fish would get out of that corner. Come on, fish. But I can't tell a fish what to do.
And those rummy nose are pretty, like, they're not looking
Well, and-
first day of a tank. They're all
Oh, yeah,
completely
they're-
nice and
they're
beautiful,
Eric's.
shiny.
He's had them for a while.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so Jason from Primetime Aquatics, I think, filmed them because he said that he's never seen
nice.
such fat and juicy looking rummy nose.
Mhm.
I mean, everybody, I can't tell you how many people commented on how great those fish looked and how fat. Like, they were like, I've never seen a rummy nose that big.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Normally in the pet store, they're
I
small.
wish
and
that like they had decided they would hang out right in the middle of the path. That would have been nice.
right.
But
Or did what rummy nose do, which is go back and forth across the
well,
tank.
wouldn't that have looked good? But you
Yeah.
know what? You can't make
Can't tell a fish what to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they were freaked out. There were a lot of people there. So, I'm very proud of it. I hope those ladies are proud of it. I think we did good work. So
Alrighty. Well, we're out of time.
Yeah,
Austin's
so
going
thank you,
live at
everyone.
5:10. So,
thank you, mods.
Thank you, everyone.
supporters. Thank you.
all right,
Bye.
well, drop a link to Austin, and I'll see y'all later.
Yeah.
Bye.
See you.